Here we go. Starting off, it's gonna be a great great environment in there Friday night. We hope we bring in Ohio State in here. It's great. They're a great up and coming team. They made it to the round of 16 last year, which in today's world is a difficult task in and of itself. Fairly new staff. They've been there a few years together, but have really made improvements in that program over the last couple of years, and expect them to be prepared and be ready to go on Friday night. So it'll be a good test for us to get started. It's always nice to start at home before you have to go on the road. Last year we opened on the road at Utah, and it's nice when you can be at home to get some of those first meet things that are going to happen from time to time out of the way, and do it in a more comfortable, familiar environment before we have to go out to Utah the following week. So excited to get in front of our crowd. The ticket sales have been amazing. Obviously, set a record on season ticket sales again this year, and single meet tickets are still available. I don't know. I haven't heard from Eric today where we're at, but even without the students here, I'm expecting a big crowd. Seems to be a good little buzz about this team, and we're excited about it. We're starting with a clean slate and ready to rock and roll.
In that regard, just kind of take us through your thoughts here with this team. Watch some of the stuff on social. You feel like it has a chance to be special?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, from a physical standpoint, from the gymnastics standpoint, it's as talented and as deep a team as I've ever coached in 34 years. It's just, it comes down to things that sometimes are beyond your control. We lived through that last year, and if you'd have told me if you'd have told me before the season last year that we would have gone through the rash of injuries that we had last year and still be able to come out the way we did, I wouldn't have believed it. But it was an indicator of the character and the cohesiveness of that group. And so, my thing I've been telling them all fall is, while we're not going to try to repeat, anything, there are certain attributes that team had last year that we need to make sure we have, even if we're with a full boat and healthy, and we've got to be unselfish. We've got to make sure that we make good decisions and that we support the decisions that are made, because there's a lot of good gymnasts on this team, and we're going to have some flexibility this year, at least so far, to be able to rest some people and hopefully not have to ride Haley and Aaliyah and the same cast of characters every single meet in all four events. It'd be nice to be able to make some strategic changes as we go through the year, and we've been trying to project some of those things out, and you'll see some of the evidence of some of that this week. You won't see Aaliyah doing everything just yet. We're bringing her along a little slow, probably on two events this week. For sure, beam. We'll wait and see if we do floor. Just being judicious with her, and so there'll be some movement, at least in the early going in the season. I hope that we can get a look at a lot of different personnel kind of groups on each event.
Speaking to that depth, certainly won't be as many times where you'll see three people do the all-around. But how hard was it to make the decisions on who's going to compete in what events and how many?
I mean, it's difficult. I think the last several weeks, we kind of do a little exercise as a staff every day. If we were making the decision today, what would it look like? And we kind of write down, based on what we saw that day, based on was there any movement, and just kind of looking like it has a way of shaking itself out. It seems like it'd be really difficult on paper when you do that. But I think it'll be pretty clear. I mean, there are things that come up during the week that sometimes we've had to push through. Somebody has a little tweaked ankle, or they have things, not necessarily things you hear about or that get publicized, but that now, if we're able to, we'll be able to consider those factors rather than just having to push through and try to make the most of it. So those kinds of things will take care of themselves as we go. I think it's not an exact science, and it's a good problem to have. It's as a coach, I'd much rather have too many than too few, and so we've got a good group here right now, and so far they seem to really understand and want for the best 6 to be out there, and they seem to trust us. It's been a big part of the conversations we've had all fall, is just to make sure that we're all on the same page. And to do that, we got to be able to communicate. You know, coaches have to do a good job of communicating with them. They've got to do a good job of communicating with us about where they are physically and how they're feeling. So it's a group effort for sure. But again, I'd much rather have it where we are right now than what we went through last year.
At 101, first time we saw Cammie Hall compete. Overall, I guess, what do you expect to see from her this year, and what kind of gymnast is she, and what will she bring to the table this year?
She's relevant on 2 events, vault and floor. You know, coming out of an injury like an Achilles injury, it takes a little longer. So from a numbers perspective, she might be a little behind some of the others. But look, I told you this last year, she's a tremendous impact inside the team. Whether, you know, in terms of what she does from a gymnastics perspective, it remains to be seen. She'll vault and she'll probably compete floor at different times, but I want to be judicious. You're talking about a 6th-year senior that has ruptured both Achilles in her career. So there, you know, you can't just throw caution to the wind with these kinds of things. But in terms of leadership, in terms of the way she goes about her business and the things that she says, she's a gem. She's been great to have on our team, and will have a tremendous impact on our team, whether she's doing 1 event, 2 events, or no events on a given week.
What do you want out of Friday? What are you hoping to get?
Well, we want to get off to a good start. I think it's not important you're not trying to win the championship on Friday night, but you are trying to, you know, a lot of times around here in a sport that's very perception driven, we want to get off to a good start. We want to start relatively fast. We want to be successful. We want to have a great hit ratio. It'd be nice if we can come out of the gate, hit 24 routines. We did that last year at Utah, although not completely clean. We didn't have falls. So those are things that are tangible measuring sticks. You know, obviously we want to get a win, but beyond that, it's really just about getting our baseline, getting our starting point. As we I keep talking to them, we're kind of continuing the climb from last year. You know, we want to get our baseline for this year, start to build some confidence and see some things come together, because there's going to be some new faces out there, and we need to see what they look like. And there'll be some familiar faces too, but they might not be doing everything right away. So it's going to be kind of a mixed bag of some things that are real tangible things that we'd like to see, but also a lot of it is intangible, just in terms of growing in confidence and kind of growing together as a team too.
Can you get me up to speed on where Kaya's at, and what do you want for her?
Oh, Kaya's in a great spot. I mean, we did, you know, after 101, her ankles were bothering her a little bit, not her Achilles, but just from the reintroduction of gymnastics to her body, it took a little while. The break came at the right time for her, and she feels great. She's doing all 4 events at or near the same level you used to see her do it. So whether or not that's a 5th-year senior with a lot of tread wear on her tires. So is she going to do all around every week? Probably not. If I have a choice, probably not. But she's capable, and she's vaulting at the same level. She's going to do the double full. She's doing great. She really is. And more than that, she's back to that presence of stability and consistency that everyone kind of looks around the room, and it kind of is just a reassurance that you just know that, hey, if I make a mistake, I know I got Kaya coming behind me. So
how is she and Haley, how have the 2 of them been back together, I guess, kind of the leadership roles, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them grow. It's interesting in the era of COVID extra years, you see, in some cases, you see the natural progression of leadership within a team, you know, from sophomore to junior to senior year, that potentially could be eroded. And I think the first year that we went through that, it really was. You know, I think the first year we had the 5th-year senior group, there was a little bit of uncertainty about who was playing what role and how much leadership should be provided by which group. And I think that Kaya and Haley, because of their personalities, have done a great job of welcoming the transfers that have come in that are the same class as they are. Also encouraging Aaliyah and KJ and some of the kids underneath them to be part of that group. It's a leadership by committee. I don't see there as one sort of incredibly vocal alpha sort of personality that's there. They're all vocal when they need to be, but the thing I like about it is whether it's Aaliyah or Kaya or Haley or Savannah now or Cammie, they lead by example. There's no question in the gym what you're going to get from those kids day in and day out, and that's a nice place to be.
Connor's obviously a very accomplished gymnast, but
Yeah.
now entering her first college dual meet, have you noticed anyone on the team kind of help her along to this particular form of competition?
Yeah, I mean she's gotten close with Haley. She's gotten close with Kaya, with several of them. I think the biggest thing I said when Connor came here, I didn't know really what we were getting into because she was coming in a year earlier than we had anticipated as a result of injury and all sorts of things. And the main thing I wanted to do was get her happy. I wanted to get her happy, get her physically healthy, but get her happy in an environment where she felt good about what she's doing. Literally in the last month or so, we've really started to see a big kind of blooming in terms of her personality and her expressiveness, and you can see that she's enjoying what she's doing. So I don't know if it's been any one person. I think she's just enjoying being part of a group that is at or near the same level that she is, and being part of a team where it doesn't all rest on her shoulders, and living and eating and working out with and just being surrounded by people that are like-minded, I think has been very good for her. She's ready on 3 events. We'll be bringing her along on vault a little more slowly, but there's a chance she does 3 Friday night.
What do you want from Livy?
I've already gotten out of Liv what, when we left last year, we had a good long conversation about what needed to happen if she wanted to see herself have a greater impact or have a better experience. She was frustrated last year, wanted to compete more and had a hard time getting caught up and getting ready. And so she spent her summer in a much different way this year. She came back strong. She came back with muscle and was able to do that. And last year when we started the fall, we were trying to get her strong and get her ready to do gymnastics, and that's a difficult thing to do simultaneously with the time restrictions and everything that we have. She did a great job of managing that over the summer and really put herself in a position to contribute. So she's ready on floor, which that's never happened this time in her career. She's ready on bars. She's ready on beam. She doesn't vault anymore. We've taken that out of her regimen, but I'm very pleased with what Liv has done. We need to see her continue to be more consistent in certain areas. And look, every team's different. So Liv's put herself in a really good place, but we also have a lot more numbers on this team than we've had in the past. So it doesn't necessarily translate into an automatic, well, we're going to see more of Liv. I hope that we do, and I think we will. But I'm just very proud of what she's done and how she's prepared and the way that she came back and the teammate that she's been. With so much focus on her stardom and everything of that nature, when she's inside those 4 walls, she's another one of them, and she acts like them and talks like them and wants to be with them and treats them well, and it's a really neat thing to watch. It's almost like there's 2 separate parts of her life, and she's just been a good teammate. She walked in the gym right before the Christmas break with bags of Viore clothing for every one of her teammates as Christmas gifts and things that it was just a nice surprise. She's just she's pretty thoughtful and considerate that way.
What's the plan overall for Aaliyah since she has such a busy year, coming up with the Olympics?
Yeah, she's got the interesting thing is that because she's going for the Philippines, she's already qualified, right? So if she was trying to do it for the U.S., then there would be some meets that she would have to participate in the late spring leading into the Olympic Games. Right now, she's already going. She knows she's going to France in July. So really what it allows her to do is focus on these routines that she's doing now as sort of her skeleton or base sets that she's going to do. And we don't have to start adding back difficulty really until we finish our season, because she's going to have May and June, 2 solid months to really prep. She'll have about 8 weeks before she has to get ready to go over there. She doesn't have to go to Olympic trials or anything like that. So she's in a really good place. The thing we've wanted to do and that we're trying to do is, because her schedule has been what it's been the last 2 years, is just to make sure that we don't go too hard too fast and run the risk of some kind of injury that really sets her back. So she's got a little wrist thing that we nurse, that we're just being cautious with. That's why we're not doing all 4 events, and she's ready on every event. She could do all 4 right now, but it's just not necessary at the moment. And so the plan, I wish I could give you specific A, B, C, and D bullet point, but it really is to kind of feel our way through it. This is uncharted territory for us and for her, and so the priority, she knows this, is to contribute what she needs to contribute to for LSU this year, and the overarching goals that we have as a team. And then secondarily to that, she'll get ready for her individual stuff that she's got laid out ahead of her in the summer.
Sorry, you might have explained this at 101, but what does Connor's path look like to Paris, and how does that kind of
Yeah, so Connor's is more complicated, and it's a difficult path for her. Not that she can't do it, because if there's anybody physically able to do it, it would be her. But she would have to, and I don't have all the details on what they would need from her in terms of verification and things like that along the way for training camps. But because she was out last year, she's not on the national team right now, so she would have to go and qualify again to go to the U.S. Championships and then Olympic trials. So there would be about 3 meets there at the end, a classic, a championships, and then Olympic trials. And then, if she was able to get herself, I think she could get herself relevant. But a lot of that's going to be up to Connor. It's not something we can, and I've told her this, look, we can be here and be present for you, but you got to map this thing out. It's what Aaliyah's done. And we're restricted with the confines of what we have, 20 hours a week and all the things. She can do whatever she wants voluntarily, and we can be there to assist her and aid her and consult her and the things that she's trying to do. But it would be a more difficult path, but I certainly think that if she's got her mind set on it, she could navigate that.
Any surprises, curveballs for Friday? Something you want to try? Different, meat-wise, layout?
No. Well, we're doing a little. We've got for intros, the pyro is going to be a little spruced up this year. We're adding some more of that. I've been after that for a while. I finally got what I wanted on that. There'll be a couple little things that we do in venue. Our events are so entertaining for the families and everybody that come, and so the idea years ago was to keep it fast-paced and keep it entertaining. So we've got a couple little surprises, like with intros, and then after the 3rd rotation, where there'll be some little nuanced things before we go to floor, and we're going to do some things with the lighting and just make it exciting. Kids love that kind of stuff, and so it's fun. The SEC gave us permission to do things with our lighting at the end of the 3rd rotation now. So Auburn was doing it last year, and so I guess now everybody gets to do it. So we're going to do some things like that just to kind of spice it up. You can get stale no matter how great the environment is. If you don't change and kind of reinvent yourself every now and then, it can get kind of boring. So we wanted to add a little bit. So I expect some more flames and explosions and some WWE type entertainment value.
Hey, Coach, what do you think the biggest challenge your team will face this year is?
Well, I just think one, if our health holds, I just think that that chemistry and remaining true to the values that we have laid out before us, and being unselfish about what it is we want to do. Their whole lives, this sport has been about them. It's been about an individual goal. And when they come to college, that has to change, and that can be a difficult process. I believe that we have the right group of people together from a character perspective, that they understand that and that they trust that we want to do what's right. But it's also hard as human beings. We have individual ambition, and we want to be out there all the time. If you're a competitor, you want to compete, and so. Us being sensitive to that, but them also being trusting is going to be something that we've got to make sure that we're all on the same page about.
I guess with Haley, how does she come back, with the standard she set for herself last year, and I guess build on that and try to maybe one-up it?
If she was a freshman last year or early in her career, I would be concerned. When you asked me that question, I would think I don't want her to try and repeat or put pressure on herself to do. But look, if you know Haley Bryant's Haley Bryant. Haley Bryant is Haley Bryant when she walks in this room, when she walks into the PMAC, when she walks into the gym, when she goes to class, when she goes to conditioning. She has a great sense of self-awareness, and I don't think she's will press or try to do anything or try to exceed anything. I think it's just what you saw in her, the excellence you saw in her is a reflection of the person that she is, and she shows us that every day. It's repetitive. It's you get spoiled watching it every day. Like I can't imagine. I think about the idea of her not being here at some point, and I go, that's going to be weird, because she's just that good, and it's in every part of who she is. She's not just a great athlete who's a pain in the ass some other way. I probably can't say that, but she's just great. She's a great human being. She's a great athlete. She's just awesome. No, look, I learned a long time ago I got to be who I am, and who I am is a middle-aged, slightly overweight guy, and I'm not gonna try to change my wardrobe to do anything. It's not about me. I want it to be about the kids out there, and I do have a nice new fly pair of shoes I'm gonna wear that I got custom made here locally. That we did it last year, but these are pretty sweet, gold laces and the whole thing. So look for those. But beyond that, I did get a new new sport coat though. That's kind of sweet. I kind of splurged and did that. It's the first time I've ever done that. I usually buy them off the rack at Belk or something, but I got one for myself. So I'll probably sport that Friday night. So, but there'll be no sequins. There'll be no tiger print. There'll be no anything like that. Coach Mulkey's able to pull a lot of things off that I don't know that would come across very authentic with me. Well, I didn't think about that. I probably need to take it off before we go to bars. I don't know. Thanks, guys.